Does everybody know what that is? Ua'u. Once upon a time, petrels filled the night skies of Hawaii. During their nesting season, these seabirds flew in from the ocean at dusk, squeaking, squealing and growling, leaving great arcs in the sky. So many petrels, they blackened the sky. And in deep, dark burrows underground, from the sea to the mountaintops, their moans the earth rumble. Now there are just a few burrows, scattered high on the mountains of the Hawaiian Islands. Some are hidden under dense ferns, some inside moist, rocky crevices. A handful are buried in gravelly hills of brown cinder or inside cracks in old red pahoehoe lava. Where have the Ua'u gone? So, I'm here today to give you the behind the scenes of this book. Preceded me. And as I said earlier, I spent time on all the different islands where Ua'u occur and where they're being helped by different incredible humans. So I'm really happy to have it actually occur in the book. So you might know my work from before this, but I've done a whole bunch of work over the years for different organizations in Hawaii. And I've done several books that celebrate Hawaiian culture and nature and our place in it. But a few years ago, more than a few, anyway, albatross flew into my life and I had to find a way to get to Midway. So now I go every other year and I participate in the albatross census. But the first time I went, I was actually at the same time doing art, creating art for Midway Atoll for their fundraising efforts. And then when I was done with Midway, I worked with Cornell Lab on a book about albatross so that children and adults could learn the things that I got to learn when I was on Midway. After the albatross book, I really became interested in trying to explore some of these challenging issues like extinction. In a way, in the story, Manu is named after an extinct Hawaiian bird. So we follow as he learns about the bird. And at the end, he finds ways that he can make a difference and help the bird. Help birds that still exist. So I learned about the Ua'u and became obsessed like I had been with the albatross and started to bug anybody that was working with them to please let me go into the field with you so that I could learn about them. So I spent time with Pacific Rim Conservation on Kauai and on Oahu, where they're doing different bird translocation projects. I love this picture that Brett took that are up close like this. So the lead character is named Makani, which means wind in Hawaiian, and seabirds depend on wind in finding home. Makani's mom is, so we get that strong female character, and she's cool. So as Makani learns all about these wonderful birds, so do we. So that's a fun way to tell the story of the biology, is through this young girl's experience. So I spent time in Kauai, and you can see, can you see my pointer? Yeah. That are going to be coming from the mountain. And you can see here that that's the predator exclusion fence. So that actually can keep out all predators except owls, right, or birds, any kind of predatory bird. If I get anything wrong, you guys, there are several in the audience that know more than me. So please don't hesitate to correct me. So this was the arrival. I got to experience almost every aspect of the translocation. This is in Kauai, the arrival of the Ua'u chicks. Pacific Rim Conservation worked with several other partners. This was at Kilauea Point. at Nihoku, Kilauea Point National Wildlife Refuge. So the chicks arrive, and then they go into, they come out and they're examined and weighed, and their wings are measured, and then they get to enter their new temporary home, which is an artificial burrow, which is a box, but it has a hole that goes outside. But they don't open up the hole until the bird is ready to start exercising his or her wings. Makani hears the playback speakers when she's going to the site, and that's one thing that Charlotte taught me, is that you don't set up the playback speakers unless it's an area that's within a fence, where they won't, if birds are attracted, if they hear the call of their species, they're attracted, and they'll want to come and spend time there. So you don't want to draw a bird to a place where it isn't safe for them. And I don't know who knows, does anybody know Robbie Coley? He's a character in the book. That's Robbie. He's going to be surprised when we present together. So here's Megan Dalton and Robbie, and they're feeding an Ua'u, Newell's shearwater, that they just brought to be translocated. So that's the Ua'u. And they're pretty cool. They're the only other endemic seabird in Hawaii. And they dive like 150 feet. Can you imagine? How cool is that? So then I went to Lanai and hung out with Rachel Sprague. And she works with Pulama Lanai. And these are some of her wonderful pictures of the Ua'u down in their burrow. And I mixed in some of my drawings. You'll start to see more of the art. So you see how I interpreted into the book the artwork that from the photos and my experiences. But this follows an old goat fence. But I think by now they have the predator exclusion fence that's been installed in the Hi'i colony. This was a very robust colony. So we went up in the evening, and we could actually, it was amazing hearing the birds at night. That was what I read to you was actually the very beginning of the book. That was my experience, and Makani's. Feeling part of the story that happened in real life was an in situ where the bird lost one of its parents. The chick lost one of its parents. And they can't be raised by just one adult. It requires 2 adults. So Rachel and her team went out periodically to feed the chick, at a time when the adult hadn't been there to feed the chick. And they could tell by a game or a wildlife camera whether the adult had been there or not. So they fed this chick and got it all fattened up, and it was fledged. Then I went to Maui and hung out with Jay Penniman, and here he is holding an Ua'u decoy. So let's go hang out there. So Haleakala at 10,000 feet, that's where the Ua'u colony is. Whoops. A game camera caught a photo of a cat outside of an Ua'u burrow on Haleakala. So the cats are going everywhere, and they're very, very dangerous and damaging to the colony and to the Ua'u. And it's just a little interesting factoid. On Maui, the breeding calendar is like a month earlier than in other places. So they can't breed with. Interesting how there might be more than one species going on in the different islands. Like there's a lot that my friends are going to learn about and teach me. And then I got to play with everybody on Hawaii Island and went up with Charlotte. So here are my buddies. That's Jessica is not here. She's in California, and we miss her. But we went up. We took the helicopter up to one of the areas. I did several surveys with them, just in case you were wondering. here's Charlotte looking for clues. Is this an active burrow? And we camp inside the 5-mile cat fence, which is amazing. And Charlotte and I discovered a new burrow, or we newly discovered a burrow. It's probably been there for a while, but it was really exciting. I think you put my name on the little tag? Yes. So here's Makani and her friend, and they're looking to see if they can find active burrows. So different clues that we've already learned about tonight, right? So it's the whitewash, or the poop, or guano. That's it. Really, well, you saw it at the beginning, that white blob. Sometimes you'll see, if it's sandy, you'll see the footprints, and then later on in the season, around November, you will see the little feathers, the downy feathers. And Slater, I wish you could have met Slater tonight. But anyway, Slater is my man. He's an amazing dog. See, look at him here. He went in the helicopter like a real champ. It's unbelievable. And here's Michelle looking like a goddess with her beautiful doggie. And here's Slater, and he's pointing, right? Is that the position that he takes? He sees some activity in there. He smells it, so he's letting us know. And you saw these already, but I did add some color to that one cartoon. But Slater was amazing. It did get a little competitive at times, but we worked it out. So I got to watch the season's footage of all the action that happened in this one burrow nest, and I really got into it. I felt like, first of all, I felt like a voyeur. Like, oh, the chick, there it is, coming out. He's gathering dirt. Oh, gathering more dirt. Exercising the wings, and boy, do they work it. And you figure they have to. Their wings are very long compared to their body size, and they're out. Oh, they go thousands of miles over the ocean. It's remarkable. And then there's a still of the pooping from that video. So the wind carries the scent, and it also carries the birds. So that was one thing that Michelle was talking about earlier that was really fascinating to me. It's not like a dog will go out and find any scent. The wind really has to be going the right way. You have to be in the right place in order for the dog to catch the scent. So I love this, and we tried it. It's called a telltale. Does anybody know what a telltale is? You ever heard of that? So it's just tying a little bit of flagging tape? Just flagging tape, tie it onto your arm, and you might not even sense that there's any wind at all. But if you hold your arm up with the flagging tape on it, it will show you which way the wind is going. It's the most low-tech thing, but it's amazing. So in the story, that was one thing that Makani does, is she finds the wind and helps Slater. Hawaii Wildlife Center. So this is the beautiful place, and you all should go up there and visit because it's a really beautiful and interesting facility. But that bird that had the broken feather that appeared in the last presentation with Linda and Ray, that was a bird that I was following because this Ua'u had a broken wing first. Isn't this right? Is this the same one? So it had a broken wing, and they healed it. They fixed it, and then it broke its feather, and it was exercising in the recovery pool, getting ready to go out to fly and have his life. So it was quite a challenge, but these guys, and oh, there's Linda. She's releasing the bird. So the recovered patient is released. Yay! So it was really important to me to create a connection between this young girl. I want to bring him home. I want to feed him. And her mom told her, this is a wild bird. And this is something I think all of us as humans, we really want to have these birds as our pets that we care for. And there's something about just loving it in its own life. It has nothing to do with you, but we're still required to help these birds as much as we can. So that's my job. That was my job in this book. Also in the story, I was able to tell how they find food. I'm not going to tell you, you have to read the story to find out. But it's pretty cool. I mean, we're guessing. We don't know what it looks like because we to find them over the ocean. They've been tracked now and we can see where they go, and you would not believe. It's just unbelievable how far they go, where they go. I mean, thousands of miles over the ocean, just sailing along, no energy. I mean, they just are built to just glide on the wind. I also included about the Hawaiian cultural connections. All of the things that Charlotte was telling us earlier about how they would, the birds would help them find, or they would follow the birds in order to find where the schools of fish were. And speaking about threats, like especially cats, and how they're really bad news for seabirds. And I think people don't know. So, and sometimes people don't want to know. So I just tried to make it, told that part of the story in a way that was just telling the facts. And Makani has a pet cat, and she loves her cat. And her cat's name is Io, which is a hunter, because that's what cats are. And she keeps her cat indoors. And then we talk about other threats. On some of the other islands, it's more, there are more challenges. I think on Kauai, the electrical wires and buildings are probably more of a threat than here. But they're all tough on these birds, especially when they're fledging for the first time. But by the end of the story, Makani finds her and this is my process, in case you're not familiar with block printing. Most of the art in the book is block prints. So I start with a recycled rubber block and carve it. Well, first I start with my drawing, and I transfer it onto the block, and then I carve it, and then I pull my print, a black print, and then I add the colored pencils. And that's my process. Thank you. Really, thank you. Thank you for coming, and really appreciate it. This has been a long time coming. My presenters, my friends, and well, you saw PDFs of it, but anyway. Thanks very much.
Thanks for doing it. All right. And you're going to be signing them, yes? So if anybody is interested, we can help you get one. Parents happy to sign them as well tonight and personalize them if you'd like.
Oh, and we have some original art from the book. I brought it down in case anybody was curious to see what the originals look like.